Something was wrong. Pastor Andrew Fletcher couldn't name it, but as he stood at Heathrow Terminal 5, clutching his passport and boarding pass, a cold unease wrapped around his chest like invisible hands. This wasn't fear of flying. He'd done that before. This was different. It was as if the air itself had shifted. The revival tour in New York was supposed to be a blessing. 10 days. For churches, a handful of sermons and leadership workshops. He had prayed over the itinerary. He had fasted. Everything felt right, on paper. And yet, as he stood in line at Gate B18, watching people laugh, sip coffee, tap at their phones, Andrew couldn't shake the feeling that he was stepping into something he wasn't prepared for. Something unseen. He checked his phone again. "Grace, call me as soon as you land, okay? I've got this odd feeling today." He didn't reply. Instead, he looked up at the glass wall beyond security. The clouds were hanging low over London like they didn't want to let go of him either. He swallowed hard. When the boarding announcement came, he didn't move at first. Then, quietly, he whispered a prayer under his breath. "Father, if there's something I'm walking into, don't let me walk into it alone." But in less than 72 hours, his name would be printed in headlines. British pastor missing in Brooklyn. If you're enjoying the story so far, kindly hit the subscribe button. It helps us tell more powerful, true stories like this. The first few days passed in a blur. Pastor Andrew preached at 2 packed services, and the responses were overwhelming. Young men came forward in tears. Parents brought their children for prayer, and he ended each night exhausted, humbled, and spiritually full. His last phone call to Grace came on Friday evening. "I feel something strange here," he told her. "The people are lovely, but there's a heaviness. I can't explain it." She chuckled softly. "You've always been sensitive, Andrew. That's why God uses you." He smiled. "True, but promise me something, Grace. If I ever go quiet, pray. Don't assume I'm just busy. Stop being dramatic," she teased. "Now go rest. You've got another sermon tomorrow." But Andrew wouldn't preach that next sermon. In fact, he would never show up. Saturday morning came with an eerie calm. The organizer of the Brooklyn revival, Pastor Lionel Brooks, stood pacing outside the venue, checking his phone every 10 minutes. No answer, no message, no Andrew. He called the hotel. The front desk said Pastor Fletcher checked out early that morning, around 7 a.m., carrying only his satchel and Bible. But he left his luggage behind. By noon, the service was canceled. By nightfall, Lionel had filed a missing person report. Across the Atlantic, Grace received a call she would never forget. "Mrs. Fletcher," said the officer from NYPD's Missing Persons Unit, "I'm afraid we have reason to believe your husband may be missing." The silence that followed stretched into a scream. Detective Eva Romero was a realist. She'd worked enough cases to know that when people vanished in New York City, most were never found, at least not alive. But something about this case tugged at her. Pastor Fletcher was clean. No vices, no debts, no infidelity, no criminal past. The kind of man who helped strangers cross the street and read the Bible to hospice patients. The last confirmed sighting came from a small corner shop in East Flatbush. Security footage showed him buying tea and chatting briefly with the cashier. At 7:18 a.m., he walked out, crossed the street, and disappeared. No cameras caught where he went. It was like he'd been erased. Back in Manchester, Grace couldn't sleep. She barely ate. Every hour, she replayed his last words. "If I ever go quiet, pray." She prayed, and fasted, and wept. On the 5th night, she had a dream, so vivid, she woke up choking on a sob. Andrew was in a dark room. No windows. A single flickering bulb. He was kneeling, hands behind his back, head bowed, whispering scripture under his breath. And then she heard it. A train horn. 3 long blasts in the distance. She woke up and called the NYPD. "There's a train near where he is," she told them, desperation flooding her voice. "Please check any old stations. Anything abandoned." Detective Romero didn't laugh. She checked. The breakthrough came on day 7. A man named Curtis, a drifter known to loiter near the subways, told officers he saw a white man being dragged into the old depot on Van Sinderen Avenue around dawn the previous Saturday. said the man looked dazed, confused. Didn't scream or nothing, Curtis muttered, like he was in a trance. Von Schinderen Alphany, an old freight depot, closed off after a warehouse fire years ago. Now fenced and forgotten. And right next to an abandoned rail line, Romero assembled a search team at sunrise. They found him on day 10, inside a storage unit within the depot, locked from the outside. He was barely conscious, wrapped in a tattered blanket, muttering Psalm 23. "The Lord is my shepherd." His face was bruised, his lips dry, but his eyes, when they opened, were full of peace. "Did Grace pray?" he whispered. "She did," Romero said gently. "Every night." Andrew closed his eyes. "She saved me." In the hospital, Andrew finally spoke. "They called themselves the Cleansed," he said. "A splinter sect. Claimed I preached a soft gospel. Said I was dangerous. Too merciful." He swallowed hard. "They wanted to re-educate me. Show me the true judgment of God." He'd been locked away, deprived of food, forced to listen to their teachings blared from old speakers. At night, he whispered prayers to keep his mind sharp. One night, he managed to grab a pen they left behind. He scrawled scripture on the wall with it, verse after verse. "They said I'd break," he whispered, "but the word held me." The sect's hideout was gone by the time authorities returned. Cleared out, cleaned, like they'd never existed. But Andrew lived. That was miracle enough. When he returned to Manchester, hundreds greeted him at the airport. Some cheered, some cried, but Andrew said little. He went home, held Grace in silence, wept in her shoulder for an hour. She didn't ask questions. Not yet. That Sunday, the church was packed. Every pew filled, news crews in the back. Andrew stepped to the pulpit, thinner, slower, but stronger. "I was in a dark place," he said, voice steady. "But I met Jesus there." He paused. "I didn't see him with my eyes. I heard him in the silence. When there were no answers, only questions. No doors, only walls." He looked up, and he whispered, "I'm still here." Andrew never gave a full account publicly. He didn't name the group. He didn't testify before the press. Some called him evasive. Others said he was afraid. But those who knew him saw a man changed. Not broken, but deeply marked. He began speaking again, slowly. First in his own church, then others. But his sermons were quieter now. More tender, less thunder, more whisper. His message was always the same. In the silence. He is near. A letter arrived at the Fletcher home a month after Andrew's return. No return address. Inside was a single photograph of a wall scrawled with verses in black ink. The same wall where Andrew had written. On the back, in jagged handwriting, "Your God is stronger than ours. We saw it. He heard you." Grace dropped the photo and covered her mouth. Andrew walked in behind her. He saw the image, read the words, and whispered, "Then maybe I wasn't just a prisoner." Grace looked at him, startled. Andrew's eyes burned with something new. Maybe I was the preacher they needed after all. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe and comment below the country you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you.